Hello everyone. Today in this video lecture we are going to study about cranial meninges. What are these meninges? Meninges are the layers surrounding the central nervous system. What are meninges? These are the layers which are surrounding the nervous system, or we can say central nervous system. As you can see, this particular part is the brain and this is the spinal cord, the dorsal part of the spinal cord. So the layers which are surrounding it, or we can say the layers which are protecting the brain from the outer environment, are known as cranial meninges. They are the meninges, they are the layers which protect the brain from various damages. So the innermost layer, which is intact with the surface of the brain, is known as pia mater. What it is known as pia mater. As you can see, this closely associated layer with the central nervous system is pia mater. It is highly vascular. Vascular means it has a good blood supply. It's a connective tissue. Pia mater is a connective tissue or a layer which is close to the brain, and it is highly vascular with a lot of blood. So why it is known as pia mater? Pia means soft and mater means mother. So it is a soft mother which protects the earth. What mother do? Mother protects his baby. Similarly, this pia mater protects the brain and also provides its vascularity. The second layer which you can see in this diagram is the arachnoid. Arachnoid is the second layer after the pia mater, and it has a spider like appearance. Why spider like appearance? Because here some trabeculi are present. These trabeculi, what they do, they connect this pia mater with the arachnoid membrane. As you can see, these are the trabeculi. In this diagram you can see this is the arachnoid and this is the pia mater. So these spider like things are trabeculi. These are the trabeculi which connects this particular part of brain with this arachnoid with pia mater. And the space between arachnoid and pia mater is known as subarachnoid space, where cerebrospinal fluid flows. Okay, now why arachnoid is named? So arachnoid means spider like, and this spider like appearance is due to these trabeculi, these structures, as you can see in this diagram. So why my video lectures will help you a lot? Because in my video lectures I have accumulated a lot of diagrams, a lot of photos of the things which I used to tell you. Because in anatomy, if you recall the picture, the word will get automatically recalled. So arachnoid is clear. Now let's move to the outermost layer, which is dura mater. Now what is this dura mater? It is the tough mother. As arachnoid is spider mother, pia mater is soft mother. Similarly, dura mater is tough mother. It is a tough connective tissue layer which is the outermost covering of the central nervous system. It fits into certain fissures. What are these fissures? Fissures are the depressions between the surfaces of brain. If we have a shallow fissure, it is known as sulcus. Like we have certain sulcuses. If this sulcus get deepens, it becomes fissure. Now let us elaborate dura mater. As dura mater is the outermost layer of the brain, outermost meninge of the brain, and it is made up of white fibrous tissue. As I said, it is the outer covering of the meninges. As this is scalp, this is skull, then we have these dura mater. Now this dura mater is further divided into two layers. Periosteal layer is that layer which connects with the skull region, which is towards the cranium, or which is very close to the cranium. After this periosteal layer, we have meningeal layer, which is close to the arachnoid layer. So these layers generally travel together, but at certain places they form certain cavities. Like this is the periosteal layer and this is the meningeal layer. They are forming a cavity here, a sinus here. It is known as dural sinus. This dural sinus is lined by which thing? By endothelial cells. By endothelial cell. And venous blood flows through here. Venous blood flows through here, and generally the materials from cerebrospinal fluid and blood get transported via this sinus. Okay, and this sinus is known as venous dural sinus. What is venous dural sinus? Let me repeat it. Periosteal layer and meningeal layer generally travel together, but at certain places they form a cavity between. There is a long area between these two layers, like this. So it is known as venous dural sinus. Why venous? Because venous flows there. Why dural? Because it is the cavity between the dura mater layers. Sinuses mean the cavity. After this we have our arachnoid, and finally we have our pia mater. So this is dura mater. Now dura mater forms certain structures. What are these structures? The first one is falx cerebri. What is this falx cerebri? It is a sickle shaped surface of the pia mater which fits between two cerebral hemispheres. If these are two cerebral hemispheres, so this particular part of the dura mater is known as falx cerebri. It fits in the horizontal fissure between two hemispheres. Okay, if we have two cerebral hemisphere, between these hemispheres, which part of dura mater gets fit in? Falx cerebri. After this, we have tentorium cerebelli. If it is the cerebrum and it is the cerebellum. So between cerebrum and cerebellum, we have this transverse fissure or a deep transverse sulcus also. And in this transverse fissure, which things penetrates of dura mater? Tentorium cerebelli. And finally, what is diaphragm cilia? You can see this is the diaphragm cilia. This is the diaphragm cilia as mentioned here. This is the diaphragm cilia. And what is this diaphragm cilia? It is that part of dura mater on the ventral surface. Upper one is the dorsal surface and lower one is the ventral surface of dura mater, which surrounds the pituitary gland. This is the pituitary gland. And this pituitary gland is surrounded by which part of dura mater? Diaphragm cilia. And at certain points, this diaphragm cilia is perforated to give place for infundibulum. And what is this infundibulum? Infundibulum is a structure from which this particular pituitary gland originates. And this infundibulum further is connected with the gray matter on the ventral surface, and that is known as, I forgot the name, but maybe it is tentorium cerebri or the thing like that. That will come into the next lectures when we study the dorsal surface of the brain and ventral surface of the brain. At this particular time, you have to note that dura mater has certain structures. First one is falx cerebri, which fits between two cerebral hemisphere. Then we have tentorium cerebri, which is that part of dura mater which fits between cerebrum and cerebellum. Then lastly, we have diaphragm cilia, which fits in the ventral surface of the brain, generally in the pituitary gland. Now the second or the middle membrane or meninge is arachnoid membrane. Why it is known as arachnoid? Because it has trabeculae in it. It is spider-like due to trabeculae. That's why it is known as arachnoid. And along with pia mater, arachnoid, along with pia mater is known as leptomeninges. What it is known as? Leptomeninges. And between arachnoid and pia mater, we found subarachnoid space, and in that space trabeculae are also present, where also CSF flows, cerebrospinal fluid. This is trabeculae and this is the cerebrospinal fluid flowing in this subarachnoid space. Now, what we are going to study here, we have this pia mater. What is this pia mater? Pia mater is the soft mother which is highly vascular. That means it has a good blood supply and is very close to the cerebral cortex and other parts of the brain. It dips into sulci and gyri. What are these sulci and gyri? You can see this is the cerebrum. So these elevated areas are the gyri. These elevated areas are the gyri, and the depressions, or we can say the sulcus, these are the sulcus. If this sulcus become more deeper, then it is known as fissure. As I told you, horizontal fissure where falx cerebri gets in of dura mater, and tentorium cerebelli is also a fissure where, tentorium cerebelli is that part of dura mater which fits in the transverse fissure. So if sulcus become deeper, it is known as fissure. So this depression here is sulcus, and the elevation points are what? They are the gyrus. And in these gyrus and sulcus, what thing is there? Pia mater is there always. So now in pia mater, we also found some tela choroidae. These are the extensions of pia mater, and when these extension of pia mater, which is known as tela choroidae, when they get fitted with the ependymal cells, they are known as choroid plexus, which secretes the cerebrospinal fluid. I will bring a diagram of tela choroidae here to make you understand it well. So you can see it is a typical tela choroidae. This is the tela choroidae. Where is tela choroidae? This is the tela choroidae. Where it is placed? It is the extension of pia mater. So this tela choroidae, when this yellow thing is ependymal cells. When it is covered with the ependymal cell, it forms the choroid plexus, and this choroid plexus secretes what thing? It secretes the cerebrospinal fluid. How it secretes, I will tell in the next lecture. So let me tell it in a jiffy. It secretes chlorine and sodium there, then water comes and it forms cerebrospinal fluid. So these are the tela choroidae. When they get surrounded by the ependymal cells, they are known as choroid plexus, which secretes the cerebrospinal fluid. So this was all about the pia mater, arachnoid membrane, and dura mater. So these were the meninges of the brain. Hope you got it, and if there would be any confusion, you can contact me or you can ask me in the comment section. Thanks.